Have you ever stopped to think about the fans behind a band? What is it about the music that keeps fans coming back for more? Or is there more? My name is Renae Lipsmeyer, and I am the host of this podcast, The Space Between Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the fans of the Dave Matthews Band. Each week, a fellow DMB fan joins the show to discuss their journey with the band. Welcome to the Space Between Podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Space Between Podcast. My name is Renae, and today we are going to have a slightly different kind of podcast. So if you are listening to this on your favorite podcast app, just know that you can also watch this particular episode on YouTube. And so today I'm in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, and I have a guest in person today. So I really do want to encourage you to watch this on YouTube. I think it's going to be an incredible episode to see, not only with your eyes, but of course to hear with your ears. So tell everyone who you are, where we're in Las Vegas. Do you live here? Did you grow up here? And then what are you doing with this guitar? And tell us what in the world is behind us. I know we're in a spaceship here at the Space Between. So Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for having us. My daughters are sitting in the corner watching this episode. So this is really a special episode, guys. So thanks for tuning in.
They're our audience.
Yeah, we got a live audience. This is awesome.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so tell everyone who you are, where you live, and how in the world does music have a home in your life.
Absolutely. First, thank you for coming out.
Yeah,
I know it was a
absolutely.
long trip out,
You know
but
what?
it was very cool.
Yeah.
You guys, did you bring the rain? Because it doesn't ever rain in Las Vegas.
We did.
And it's pouring today.
We did. We just wanted to really water all of the fruit trees here. We don't have any of this in Arkansas, of course. Maybe apple trees, but there's lemon trees. There's everything here. So
I love the heat in Vegas, but
Yeah.
I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh.
So when it does rain, I really truly enjoy it because the smell and just the energy it gives you is different.
I agree.
And I don't miss it like I miss it every day, but when it does come, I have such a higher appreciation for it.
Yeah.
And again, we're in the desert, so we just don't get it too
need
often.
it. Yeah, this is just celebrate.
So my name is Dave Ritz, R-I-T-Z, like the crackers.
Yeah. Do you like Ritz crackers?
I mean,
Who doesn't?
they're fantastic.
Who doesn't like them?
Make little sandwiches with them.
You can put anything on a Ritz cracker. It's amazing.
That's well, I'm glad you think so.
I'm a big fan.
But no part of the crackers or the Ritz-Carlton hotel chain.
That's unfortunate.
Even though we have fooled them a couple times.
Oh, really?
When we were playing music, we would show up, and I would say my uncle
Have you ever heard of Ritz crackers?
has our reservation. We only need 2 rooms for the band. And they were so confused. They would take my ID, and keep in mind, I'm 21 years old, 22 years old, and they would take my ID. Before I knew it, I had about 5 managers out asking me, "Oh, Mr. Ritz, is there anything we can get for you?" And I said, "Just 2 rooms for the guys, and maybe some swim trunks so we could go swimming."
Yeah.
So yeah, we did that a couple times.
I mean, use it as much as you
But we
can.
behaved. It wasn't
I mean,
like
how do
we
you prove
destroyed.
that you're kin to anyone, right?
Right. Yeah, well, and it's not really even a Ritz family
It's probably not
owned.
the last,
It's a corporate entity, so it worked out well. But yeah, I mean, so being from Cleveland, Ohio, my dad and my parent, my mom, they all loved music and sports. I mean, that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Sports and music.
Yeah.
2nd grade, piano lessons.
Did your mom make you take piano lessons?
So both my parents were adamant in wanting me to play the piano.
Okay.
And so I did. And about 2 years in, I was losing interest, but I was playing songs that I wasn't interested in. Until my dad came to the teacher and said, "Listen, I'm paying for these lessons. I'd like to hear songs that even he wanted to hear."
Exactly.
So I started playing the Billy Joels and the Elton Johns and what was on the radio, it was like Richard Marx type stuff, like
Good stuff.
whatever, about Bruce Hornsby and the Range. Like, I learned The Way It Is. Like, that's a beautiful piano song.
Yeah.
And I'd be in the car and Dad would say, "Hey, you should play this one, or you should play that one."
Yeah.
And we would get the easy piano version, being 7, 8, 9 years old. And I would learn them and sing them. And that's how I learned. So now I play and sing naturally just from that.
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
It was awesome, but that was the turning point. It was like, then I just picked songs, and then I learned the songs. I wasn't being told, did you practice today?
Yeah.
In fact, I probably drove them a little nuts. You know, pianos are loud.
They are very loud.
But I would play after school, and all night long, and I just enjoyed it tremendously. So reading music was a big part of my musical journey from the beginning. I started writing music in 7th grade.
What inspired you to start doing that? Because 7th graders, you're 12, 13 years old. Oh, okay, that does it.
I wrote a song called Together Forever.
Oh, do you still know it? I
I
won't ask
do,
you to sing it,
yeah.
I'm just asking.
I believe it was something along the lines of, you and I would be so fine together in my mind.
So romantic,
Yeah,
right?
together forever type of thing. But I did play it for her. Her mom brought her to a public choir performance in a gymnasium, and I played this song that I wrote in front of 500 or 600 people.
Oh my God.
And I just loved to do it.
Yeah.
I knew even then I loved to do it. And when I was in high school, and this is where we could connect with the Dave Matthews Band.
Who is that?
I had a Dave Matthews Band when I was in high school, so let's drop it to, say, late 90s. I think 95, 96. My first show was 95 at Blossom. And I didn't know how to play guitar, but I could play the piano.
Right.
So I put together, with a guitarist, a drummer, no bass player. I played bass on the keyboard with my left, and then I played saxophone with my right hand on the keyboard. I just split the keys, you know. And then we had a fiddle player. So we would play all summer long at parties with our friends, and their parents were hiring us to play.
That's wild.
And it was fantastic. So I have video of this, of us playing in high school. And I didn't even know how to play the guitar. I bought a guitar, went to college. That whole summer before school, I just taught myself. I mean, Crash was an early song.
Yeah.
But I learned, again, like I did when I was younger with the piano, the guitar just blew up on me, and I absolutely love playing. And I'm only a rhythm guitar player, songwriter. I'm not shredding. I know who I am on the guitar, and I love that.
Yes.
But I've tried, of course, with large amounts of failure in any type of being a guitar soloist.
Yeah.
Eddie Van Halen's Safe. I'm not going to come for, anything like that. But so I played all throughout college, and I learned a ton of Dave's songs on the guitar first.
Okay.
So if you know anything about just the technical side of how Dave plays, he's very rhythmic and percussive.
Yes.
A lot of the South African influences, but also, Charlottesville, Virginia, and that. He's very percussive and I love that, because a lot of songs are simple, 3-song chords that you're just playing rhythm, and again, that's fun and cool, but boy, did I love the little, just little intricate things that then your brain's working in that world while you're singing and creating a melody and lyrics in the other world.
Yeah.
And then, the key is, and if I give any lessons, it's always learn to play and sing together.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just a good advice. It's not easy always.
No.
But if you can do that, because I played out here in Vegas for the last 15 years, and if someone came up and said, these are 5-hour gigs, can you play this song by this artist? Kind of. Look it up on the iPad, play it, and sing it without ever doing it.
Wow.
But the professionalism in Vegas is you should be able to. And that's how I always felt. And if I'm at 700 plus songs. If I don't know that song exactly of the artist you're asking for, I can probably do another song by that artist that would, still make you happy.
Right.
So
So before we move a little bit further,
Yeah.
you keep bringing up that, you know, some of these influences came from the Dave Matthews Band.
Mm-hmm.
So how in the world was that even on your radar? I mean, obviously it was the 90s, so it was a band that was just very up and coming and out there. But like, how were you exposed to them? Was that something that your parents listened to?
My best friend, his older brother went off to college before we did. And he came back and he said, "You got to hear this college band." I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I know he showed me, what would you say, Satellite, Ants Marching from the Under the Table and Dreaming record. And I borrowed that CD, had it in my car, unfortunately, I kind of felt like I stole it because it was in for about a year. And then when his brother came back for the summer vacation, he's like, "Hey, do you still have that CD?" And I said, "Yes. In fact, I knew you were coming home from school and I bought you a brand new one because this one is trash." I killed it.
Yeah, you wore it out.
You know, so, but I enjoyed that. And that record really opened my eyes to, from songs like The Typical Situation, of just the little intricate sounds, and then yes, being exposed to saxophone, my favorite instrument to listen to, and fiddle was such a cool blend of musicality, and then lyrically with, you know, here's my opinion, Dave's music, you can hear a song but fall in love with it years later.
True.
So the time it takes to fall for a song is beautiful to me, because that gives longevity to my whole soundtrack of my life from high school and all the people I've met that I've connected with the Dave Matthews Band. I have a soundtrack of my life connected to a band that I appreciate tremendously and that I emulate. We just played with the Jimmy Buffett Coral Reefers, his band, for a downtown Vegas, right by Fremont Street, and we opened as Gray Street, our Dave Matthews tribute, and we threw in some Eddie Casino Band songs. So, but yeah, so I've had that connection with Dave and people, and it's always brought good people into my life. So the appreciation and love that I have just for that, and the joy of it. I lost my dad a couple years ago, and his ashes are up at the Gorge. He's watching every show, looking down upon everyone, whether it's Pearl Jam or Fish or anybody.
That's beautiful.
He's watching every show, so I get to go. I've been up there nine years, and I've seen a ton of shows, and I go visit all the time.
So that's a really special venue for you because...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's just so many feelings involved with going to the Gorge, but I can see how you would want to continue to keep going back. And thankfully, the Gorge is a venue that, you know, you can see a lot of bands at, right? It's one of the epic places, I guess, in the United States to see. It's a beautiful, beautiful place.
Every Gorge experience is different. When I tell my wife, I say, next year it's going to be different. You're going to camp in a different spot. You're going to be around different people. You're going to see a different set list. You're going to see different orders. You go over to Cave B. You listen to live music there. Maybe you don't one year. There's things to do, and you can just get lost. And I love the peacefulness of it.
It really is. It really is beautiful.
Did you see the enormous documentary?
I did, yes.
Well, I went to the theater to see it.
No way.
It was like a Wednesday evening, and I was with a group of friends, and I'm in it. On the rail, in my Ohio State, like red zip up, watching Dave, arms bent over, just looking and watching for about 6 seconds. Well,
holy crap.
I didn't have any idea. So when you're at the theater and then you see your big dome, your face just out there, I was like, was that? And everyone's looking at me like, hey, was that? I go, I think that was me. It's weird. You do a triple take.
That's awesome, though.
So I've got the documentary, and it was.
Yeah, so anybody who's listening to this that hasn't seen it, I think you can watch it on YouTube. I think you can access it in a lot of different places. So check out your 6 seconds of fame before the fame.
It was just cool because the band and the atmosphere and all of that means so much to me that it was cool to, be a part of it in a different way. I wasn't expecting.
Yeah. So let's jump back into college now. Going into college, what was your thoughts on what you wanted to do with your life? Because obviously we know now that you're a musician, but was that always the goal?
In my heart of hearts, yes. But when I went off, so the day I turned 18, I was selling cars. My dad ran dealerships.
Yeah.
So I learned more selling cars about how to treat people and how to have successes and victories and wins and support other people, because it's a cutthroat business, and I'm an 18-year-old kid. Everyone's trying to make a living, and I was respectful, and I learned a lot through that experience. Went off to college. Like I said, I bought a guitar and went to school. A friend now, but there was a guy playing acoustic guitar on stage at this bar restaurant, and he took a break, and I only knew 4 songs on the guitar, probably around that time, 4 or 5 songs. And so I said, hey, do you mind if I play when you're on your break?
Right.
Which, if he would have said no, I totally understand. It's your guitar, it's your baby. A lot of people have different opinions on that. I totally understand that. But he said yes. He might have had a few drinks. So I did get on stage, and because I was underage at the bar, it was 18 and over, but I was worried because I knew who the owner was. I always would stay away. I didn't want to get in trouble, whatever. Right. So I get on stage. I played these 3 or 4 songs. I get off stage, and he was a very stern gentleman, and he comes up to me and he's like, and I'm like, oh,
you're in trouble.
I'm like maybe never going to be able to come back here again.
You're right.
So he says, hey, you interested in playing here? I go,
oh my God.
He goes, come back tomorrow 4:30. We'll talk about it. I go,
that's amazing.
I didn't say a word. I just shook my head because I was scared. And so I left there. I ran out of there, and he told me, he goes, okay. He said, I enjoyed what you were doing. Can you play? And it was like 2 weeks away. And I said, yeah, sure. So I had to play 3 hours of guitar music, and I only knew 4 songs.
What'd you do?
I learned.
You went to school with that
2
weeks.
Because my friend, who I'm again friends with, at the time now, he had this book of lyrics, and then he wrote the chords over, and it was all, print out the sheets, slide them in, and then that's your book.
Right.
That's your book of music. And I put this book together. I did more learning music than I was studying for sure.
Oh, yeah.
That semester at least. And I learned about 40 songs. And I was able to get through 3 hours. You play, take two little breaks, I guess. So you get, play 2.5 plus hours. And I did it, and I'm like, that's it. So he would always call me, and I would play, 4 nights a month.
That's awesome.
And I loved playing the music. And I was playing a lot of Dave, because that's what I was learning.
Right.
And so
what was your go-to? Like, what was, you were just like super comfortable, and you were like, I don't know what to play. I'm going to play this because this just comes to me. Like, what song was that?
I like the way you phrased that question, because in my whole career playing music, I don't ever know what song is next until I do. But that's based off of who is there.
Sure.
So my attitude is, I'm there providing a service and entertainment.
Yes.
But I'm there to help them.
Yes.
I'm there to play for the people that are there.
Right.
So I don't care. Like, I'll play like a Pearl Jam tune, and I'll get the reaction of, oh yeah, or I'll just watch people the whole time.
So you're feeling it out.
Every song I'm thinking, and so then I jump into like STP and maybe a little like acoustic Nirvana or Oasis, but then the Brown Eyed Girls come, like the top 100 piano. I played the dueling piano show in Vegas.
Oh yeah.
You need to know a ton of songs for that.
Yes.
And they're the songs though that everyone knows. It's the Journeys. It's the Brown Eyed Girls. It's
stop. Everybody
all
wants to sing
of
it, right?
And that's great, because that's again more musical knowledge
Yes.
that I can transfer to the guitar. I can transfer to the piano. I can entertain the people.
Yes.
But that, oh my gosh, the connection of that is just. Or then I play an original song and they're just trying to guess it.
Sure.
And that only tells me that they kind of like it. It's familiar to them, even though I know they've never heard this song before, because not many people have.
Right.
So it's just a cool connection I've always had with, it doesn't matter if it's the 4 of us here.
Right.
Or if it's 4,000 people like last weekend, or if it's even more.
Right.
There's just that energy and synergy that I love about Dave and how the boys play. I am so inspired by that's why I'm doing the Eddie Casino Band.
Yeah, so let's talk about that, and let's talk about kind of the evolution of again, you went to college, you got this job at a bar. Like, what are the next steps that lead you to where you are now?
I did so much recording, so much playing throughout those years while I was balancing a full-time job for the most part. I moved out to Las Vegas. My parents had retired out here.
Okay.
And 3 years later, I kind of followed them out.
Yeah.
But I also had a plan. I met with a booking agent, and he's like, you could play 7 nights a week if you wanted to.
Dang.
I'll help you with that.
Yeah.
And I really do appreciate the work he put into it.
Yeah.
Gave me the opportunity, and I was 6 nights a week. I'll say 6 nights a week for 14 years. And I did the math on all of those shows. I mean, it's insane. But every night was different.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of friends that were like that, musicians that do similar things, and they were like, how do you play the same songs all the time? I'm like, every night is different, man. And every song is different. I don't play Oasis the same way that they do it. I do it maybe a little bit different.
Yeah.
The 2 ways to cover a song. You emulate perfectly in honor of, or people are like, what song is that? Why do I know it? And I'm like, oh, Strawberry Fields. And they're like, I had no idea, But it was just cool ways to do it. So I'm always intrigued by the music.
And I think people dig that. At least I do. When I hear someone playing a song that's familiar, but then they've added to it and made it their own, it's almost as if it adds to it and it changes it. And that's what's beautiful about music. And that's what you've been able to do throughout your career, is kind of just make music your own. And that's your goal, really, is to make your own sound. Yes. But, how did you figure out and fine tune what your sound is? Like, did you always know I want this, or was it kind of just finding your way to it?
Throughout the years, I've played in many bands that I've played my original music with. And there's nothing more, I tell every musician, play with as many cats as you can.
Yeah. Because
someone's going to bring their voice on their instrument that you're just like, wow, that's magical.
Yeah.
And everyone else is all very good, but there's that different level of, it's like we spoke about with Leroy, his voice on his instruments, and Jeff's.
Yeah.
Different voices.
Yeah.
And I like them both, but you can hear the difference of that person's individual voice.
Yes, you can.
And to me, though, why I put the Eddie Casino Band together with the members currently, I've played with so many musicians that I'm like, yes, let's get these 5 people together and see what we sound like.
Yeah.
So no one sounds like the Eddie Casino Band.
No.
But it's because of who we are individually, and that's my attitude. Everyone always said, and I find this compliment it's very meaningful to me. They were said, every time we play with you, it's a musician's gig. You let us be us. You're not just like play these 5 notes every 3rd time.
Right.
It's maybe, learn these parts, ants marching, dun, 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 those were parts, but then they jam.
Right. So
when they jammed, everyone got to be themselves. And a lot of gigs are very, not sterile, but very, you can't really express yourself. You're playing, it's work.
Right.
And everyone loves to play when you're free.
Yes.
And so I love the freedom of this original music, because I tell everyone, I said, maybe we play, instead of with a fiddle player that night, we play with an electric guitarist that night. But I'm like, that's the version we did that night in that moment. So love it. Learn from it. And that's like the best part of it all. So the guys that I have working with this project right now I feel truly blessed, and I'm looking forward to sharing the Eddie Casino Band's music as much as possible.
So you mentioned that you have 2 sides of your music. You have, of course, the Eddie Casino Band, and then you have Gray Street, which is a Dave Matthews Band cover band. So tell me why it is, or like which one came first, and why do you have both, and kind of how does that work in your life?
So Gray Street, about 15 years ago, when I moved out to Vegas, I was at a late night jam till 4 a.m, and I did a Dave tune, and Jason, who's playing with me now on drums, came up and said, I got some Dave. And when a drummer says that, you think of Carter.
Right.
And it's like, okay, let's
Can
see,
you feel
bro.
those- yeah, I want to see this for my own self.
You know, and I was excited, and he learned on Carter. He learned on Carter stuff like I learned a lot on Dave's percussive rhythmic playing.
Yeah.
And he played note for note. And we've been playing it that way ever since.
Wow.
And so we played that, we started that, and we were playing once or twice a month. And Gray Street Vegas on Facebook has, you know, a good little community.
Yeah.
And listen, we love to celebrate the music. It feels so good. The one thing you see Dave, he exudes the joy that the music, the action of playing the music. I mean, he's just out there just voice vomiting all of his emotions.
Yes.
But then to be able to do that, so he's given me the chance to do that. And if I'm digging in and I'm in the dirty Dave, like, don't drink the water, like, just, you know, and then Love Her Lay Down.
Yeah.
And this beautiful little just ditty of beautiful flowing music. And the balance of all of that.
Yeah.
So I have influences of Dave, Tom Petty, Rob Thomas, you know, Sting and the Police, Zach Brown, that whole group of, I love the communities of Grateful Dead and Fish, and you know, you see Fish, you see Goose now jumping into things, and Billy Strings. I've seen them many times in the last 2-3 years. I go to see those shows and I'm completely energized, re-inspired and motivated to where you just want to keep fighting and grinding for your purpose of what you want to do.
Right.
But yeah, so I moved out here, did Gray Street, and we're still doing it.
Yeah.
And we just did it last weekend.
And fans are responsive to it. They love it. They love it.
Well, when I'm on stage, I say we love to celebrate this music, so let's all do this together. And I feel like that's just the best way to do it. Like we've all played in front of crowds of smaller people, you know, and it's not as connecting. We played the Dave Matthews Band after party March 1st this year in Vegas. So I got to go to the show, and then so I got my 126 in. I got back early. I left after Jimmy thing, and then you know, did a quick sound check, and and then once the show was done, though, the rush of people that came was so just awesome.
Dude, it was so crowded.
It was cool.
You know, I have to say though, you have so many people in your community and that surround you that really do support what you're doing, and a lot of them are part of the reason why so many people showed up is because they were like, listen, you've got to come hear this band, you've got to come support them. And so I know that's how we got there. That's how so many people that were there for the Dave Matthews Band came to you next, is because you have so many people that are really impressed with what you are doing. And so that was an amazing show. And what a thrill to go right after the Dave Matthews Band. You talk about being inspired after you hear different musicians, but of course this is a band you continue to love, to literally have just seen them, and then in the same exact building
right across the hall
go on stage after them.
It was incredible.
What an amazing experience.
But it was the people that made it, because we played the first couple songs to a smaller crowd.
Sure.
And then it was just like, okay, this is why we do this. And we were jamming out at the end of Lie in Our Graves. And I looked at the guys and I said, just keep it going. I wanted to let everyone walk in to us just jamming. Because in the Eddie Casino Band, and what I've learned from Dave, is I celebrate my guys. Like, it's fun to sing and do what I do. I get lost in it, and I love to exude that. But then when I'm like done with my part, I get to go, Barry, go crush it on the fiddle. Hey, Brian, go kill it on the sax, and let them play music together. And I'm just all ears. In fact, I don't even realize sometimes that the audience is there, because I'm listening to us play.
Exactly.
And the freedom they have to really explore the space is...
You're literally jamming. I mean, you're doing it, but also you're turning around and you've got a concert for you as well. And I think just the fans in general that follow the Dave Matthews Band, and then of course in March followed you guys, they appreciate having the spotlight be on every single person in the band. And that's kind of what I've found as far as the fans of the Oh, snap. We're still recording. I was like, whoops.
La, la, la.
Things happen. The fans that, love the Dave Matthews Band, they really want each person to have their turn. And I've heard that over and over, that people appreciate that Dave, which, is just, he's not the leader, it's his name, but, I wouldn't necessarily call him the man of the band. I think they each share their own equal parts of the band, but Dave allows that spotlight to be off of him very often, and he'll even step back so that, he's not even on stage, because people do tend to follow him with his eyes because he's fun to watch. But he gives the saxophone the time, he gives the trumpet their time, he gives Carter, he gives everyone that time. And so I think
but that's so important.
It is, because they are killing it too, and they are a huge part of the sound, right? If you take one of those out, you sound completely different.
Absolutely.
So it's good to highlight what they're bringing to the total sound, right? But then also just making part of that sound just them, because you've got some amazingly talented musicians. So how did you get this band together? You talked a little bit about that, but how did it all come together in finding each person that's part of your band now?
So because of the Gray Street opportunity, Jason on drums we've been playing for the last 15 years together. Brian on saxophone since we were 20 years old. So we've been playing together for a long time. Barry on fiddle joined us throughout the 15 years of Gray Street. He did maybe 4 or 5 of those years. And then moved to California, then Texas, and this and that.
Yeah.
And did his thing, and now he's back here. And Rigo was our second bass player in the Gray Street band. So again, see how everything, the synergy of it all is based around, and I've found that so many times with just in my life, whether it was going off to college and meeting the group of people that were going to this. And I feel like that night we played the after party for Dave, that I even said on the mic, I said, I'm one of you. I'm the guy from Cleveland that saw the Cleveland show, the 2 Pittsburgh shows, the 2 Polaris shows in Columbus, 3 at Riverbend, 3 at Deer Creek, for summer after summer after summer. And then it took me all over, which I see you doing now.
Yes.
Takes you to West Palm Beach, takes you up to Maine, takes you, I don't know if I would, besides going to see them, maybe go up to Maine.
Exactly.
So long story short, it's just a really connective piece, and all the guys in the band have been connected through Gray Street. The Eddie Casino band is based after my dad, who was the original Eddie Casino.
That's was going to be my question. How in the world did you
So I wrote a song. I went to so being in Cleveland, you could go to Canada when you're under 18, 19 years old, and enjoy the space in many different ways. And so we did, and we had a blast. And I saw these characters there at the casino, because again, I'm a young kid. So it was like, well, this guy here is smoking a stogie, and this guy's playing poker, and this guy's talking to his girlfriend, and they're in an argument. And I just saw all these characters, and I took all of these little ideas and I put them into this one character, Eddie Casino. I was in college at the time, and I wrote the song, and I'll never forget playing it for my parents. And there's a line, where Eddie Casino is all caught up in his lies. And that's totally not my dad, but he took on the personality of Eddie Casino. In fact, his email address was ecasino@hotmail or something.
Yeah.
His license plates were ecasino. All of his friends, all of my friends, my brother's friends, all called my dad Eddie Casino. I mean, his name was Ed, but
perfect.
He was Eddie Casino, and just the happiest guy in the world, and just good dude. And so we started the song, and then I've been writing since 7th grade. So I saw a Jerry Seinfeld interview, and he's like, I talked to Chris Rock yesterday, and he said, Jerry, I just played last night, and I delivered 3 new jokes, but they're 3 jokes I've been working on for 10 years. Yeah. And Jerry's just like, listen, people don't realize, and they're like, well, how does a joke take 10 years to curate? Right. And it's like, yeah, that's the magic behind where word placement is
Yes.
and how you flow into this or that.
Right.
Same with songs. These songs have been just like growing ever since I've had the initial idea. And a lot of times I write at night and I wake up in the morning and I'm like listening to my phone recordings, which are in the 500-600s of little new ideas or lyrics.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that was really cool. And I build the song around that, like Dream Girl, where Boyd was playing da-da-da-da-da-da. Did you see he played that last night? Solo?
I did,
acoustic?
actually. Yes, and I
Beautiful.
screen recorded it. I
Yeah,
was like,
gorgeous.
what is happening?
Yeah,
I'm
so
so sad
gorgeous.
I'm not there.
But they took Boyd's riff and created the song around it, right?
Yeah.
So like that was like such a cool thing. So I enjoy writing in so many different ways. We're working in the studio here. My good friend Daniel Bauer, who you have interviewed here with
Yes.
Space Between Podcasts,
Yes.
has been just fantastic supporter of what we're doing with original music.
So how did you guys meet? Like, how did you meet Daniel, and then like, how does he even know that you're in a band? Like, how did all that work?
Yeah, so with Gray Street,
Okay.
and he would see me play solo. And I remember one time the cocktail server came up and said, hey, the gentleman over there at the bar with the black beard, on your break, he wants to, come over and say hello. So I did, and we talked, and he said he was at the time, he's at 560 plus some shows, and he's been in Europe this whole time.
Yes.
South Africa, I mean, it's just fantastic that he
loves
goes and
the Dave
sees.
Matthews Band.
But he's like the person that I'm like, well, you're the reason why I do all this, because you come and support the music.
Yeah.
And so we spoke, and he's like, oh, I went to these shows, and then I'm like, okay, let's see. So we talked trivia, we
Right.
talked Dave, like people talk Dave. We
They do.
nerded out for hours. And we've become really good friends, in the last 7-8 years of just putting it all together. And I know he truly believes in what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And he helped us put all of this spaceship sound system, studio recording, all of this stuff. I don't even know what these buttons do.
No, I know. That was like one of my first questions, because if you can see this again, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see what is this called? Like this. Like if you go, what is this called? A soundboard? Or like what is all of this?
Well, it's all the newest technology you can get. And when you would go into a studio and they'd have like a Neve board that is just as big as 4 couches in the room, and every little treble, bass, mids, effects, this plug-in, that plug-in, but it was all real time. Now it's all on these computers.
It's so fancy. There's
So-
like 5 iPads. I don't know if you can see all this, guys, but definitely check it out on YouTube. This is a lot of technology. So, I asked you this earlier, but like when you guys are on stage and you're performing, who is doing all the buttons, and like what are they doing? Because you explained it well earlier, and I think that's important for the listeners to hear what exactly this is for and why they have this.
So there's 2 things, studio work and live work. Studio work, there's so many little effects, so you could take your voice and make it sound like anything. But you have to
make
be...
me sound like a good singer.
You're not.
No.
We hear you at all the shows.
And it's terrible.
Oh, Renee's singing again.
Oh, good. That's why I don't live stream.
But we give, and Dave said this in an old school documentary where he's like, we gave Steve Lillywhite the bricks and he created this boat. Mm-hmm. Where it's just like, yeah, you can make a brick boat float but that's the art. So the engineer is part of the band. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that they make the saxophone have the right amount of reverb and digital effects so that's this side of it.
Yeah.
Now front of house is what we were talking about earlier.
Okay. Yeah, it's all
You're only as good as the front of house, because if that person is blending you in and mixing you so that when it's a saxophone solo or a fiddle solo, they're a little bit floating above the mix instead of, I know they're playing really hard right now, but I can't really hear it. So you actively throughout the show are dialing in the band, and that's a tremendous benefit to any band, to have a very strong front of house engineer and monitor guy to help you hear as well as you can.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all.
So let's talk about those inner ear. Like I'm guessing that you guys use those. That's a thing that most people use. What exactly? Explain to someone that sees those but doesn't really understand. What is it that the band hears in their ears?
So we all have individual mixes. So in mine, I have some vocal. I can hear my guitar.
Okay.
Because if you have no wedges in front of you, which you see sometimes, Dave, there's no wedges around him, where back in the day it was like 4 or 5 of them shooting at him.
Yeah.
But if you move out of that circle, audio, they flow out in waves.
Yeah.
And it could blow right by you and you don't even hear it.
Mm-hmm.
As in sitting right here and then sitting back there, when you're listening to this, you're like, wow, it sounds so different. But you're getting the different audio waves of that. And so I'll put together my mix where I put in a little hi-hat, little snare, little kick drum. But I'm standing near the drums, so I don't need a ton of drums. Mm-hmm. Love a good, solid, thick bass sound.
Yeah.
So it's a full sound in my ears. And then I love and I can pan saxophone and fiddle. So it's almost like you want to dial it in so you're listening to a live mix that you prefer.
Yeah.
And so if everyone does it, like my fiddle player is always cranking the fiddle. But he has to hear saxophone because they play together, and so you have to listen to each other, so you're not just going one direction and the other guy's going the other, and musically it's not making sense. They're listening. You just did this for 8 bars. Now I'm going to do this for 8 bars, and now this is flowing into my next 6 bars, and your next 6 bars, and your next 4 bars, and your next 4, down to this, and then all of a sudden you're playing together. But from that to this is like one of my favorite things to see.
Yeah.
And we do that quite often because they listen to each other so well.
So as you've graduated as a musician, obviously back in the day when you were performing on stage and just you and your guitar and a mic, obviously you didn't have all the in-ear monitors, you didn't need those at the time. But like as you graduated as a musician, were those things that were hard to get used to, or did it make your job easier?
Learning new technology or something new is always a little different, because we've had nightmares of my monitor mix was just horrible, and it does hinder. It's hard, it makes it harder to,
Sure.
I'm strumming, I can't hear the guitar. I'm like, luckily enough, I've played these songs so many times that it comes out okay, but you do need that. So knowing that, you put the work into it. So when I say we're here from 10 in the morning until sometimes 10 at night, it might just be me here by myself dialing in like my pedal board, the EQ of this guitar in particular. I'm always doing little details so that when I do go on stage, it sounds, and I'll talk about this guitar is carbon fiber.
Oh, wow.
It's a carbon fiber guitar made custom for me from Ireland.
Damn.
And the reason I wanted it was we live in Las Vegas, and the heat kills the wood guitars.
True.
My other ones have lines here, they're cracking, and I try to keep them, humidified. But this is carbon fiber.
So it's super light, right? Yes,
Very
it
light.
is. Yes, it is.
And the cool thing is, because it's so strong, it doesn't go out of tune.
Smart.
The wood stretches and then contracts, and then your strings change and go out of tune.
Right, so you're constantly...
I've left this in my car, 115 degrees, 3 days. I just wasn't thinking, and it's parked
But also
out.
You were testing it out. You just didn't.
I mean, I was actually very disappointed in myself. I'm like, no, what am I doing? So I got it, and I literally was just like, I'm like, okay, it worked. So I tried it.
Yeah.
I tried it. But yeah, here's the other thing too. This is not a wood guitar, so it sounds different. So that's part of our sound that I can bring.
Yeah.
I have Taylors that, 614s that are my favorite. They're my babies. But it sounds like a regular acoustic guitar. This sounds like the Eddie Casino band. It's it cuts through. It's just a little different. Acoustically by itself, it sounds different than when I have the effects. But it's cool to, you look at Trey with Fish, and he's got his babies of guitars that everyone knows. And when Dave switches, that's how I can usually tell what song's coming up.
That's a whole game that you either love it or you hate it.
Or when Stefan changes basses, and then you see the math of Tim's on this.
Yep.
Oh, Jeff's on baritone, so that eliminates these songs. So
it's amazing the amount of math we do as fans. Like, okay, this one, okay, it can only be 5 songs.
And considering I'm horrible at math.
Somehow.
If I could get paid for musical math.
Right.
There's a ton of math in music, like just playing and writing.
Yeah.
But it's like, if it just comes naturally and just flows out of you, that's the best math I've ever done in my life.
It's beautiful math. That's the only beautiful math that I know. Everything else sucks,
Yeah.
right? Everything
Right.
else sucks. My mom's a math teacher, so I just have like this passion of hate for math. I'm like,
I can
"Ugh,
imagine.
It's terrible. Okay, so obviously you guys are doing really well. Of course, we saw you at MGM after Dave played here in Las Vegas. So how in the world does a band even get to that point where you're playing in the MGM? Like, that's a big deal. How did you get there?
So I've been playing with MGM though for 15 years.
Okay.
So working with them now,
Gotcha.
with their support of, MGM has a platform and they give the opportunity for Maroon 5 and Dave Matthews and Bruno Mars, Lady Gaga to come to their venue, but that's their service.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be part of music. They want to be part of the growth and the bluegrass, the grassroots growth of an artist, ultimately. And so working with them and cultivating the Eddie Casino Band, moving it forward, because this is all kind of brand new, even though I've been doing this for a long time, this is the new branded project moving forward. And really all we're looking for is to share the music with as many people as possible. That's why when I said to the crowd after the Dave show, I'm like, I'm one of you.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're here listening to me do what I love to do, I just want to do it the best I can so that you get the feeling that I get when I'm watching my favorite bands play.
Exactly.
So if that's the ultimate goal, that's the ultimate goal for where I'm at. And I have 300 original songs.
That's
So
amazing.
even from the start, we're recording 50 of them right now. And once a month, we're going to release a new song. And working with other people in the music business, I won't say who we're dealing with now, but the guidance and our marching orders are to do this so that potentially then they can help us. Because here's the thing, look at anyone, again, we'll talk about Dave, he opened for the Rolling Stones and the Grateful Dead, and there are opportunities that they got, and even go back to 94, 95, 96 with the Horde Fest with Blues Traveler.
Yeah.
Now you're playing in front of music lovers,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. You look at Mount Joy, they played with the Lumineers forever on a tour, and that helped them, oh, who's this? Who's this Billy Strings kid?
Yeah.
Who's this? Who's that? Who's this Goose? Oh, they sound like these guys. You might like them. That's what I love about opening bands, which I feel like more people should give that opportunity to, not only from the business side, but from the listener side. Mount Joy got a chance to open for Dave at the Gorge. What a beautiful dream come true.
Right.
I grew up playing in college with OAR. Jerry specifically, just a great guy, good friend, and we were playing, they were opening for us, we were opening for them, but we were like kids, playing the fraternity parties.
Right.
Which are
But even
hilarious to
Dave
think.
himself played fraternity. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a
They
great
were
start.
frat rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the moment they were frat rock, but
Yeah.
good music is timeless, so no matter where it is or who you're with, if it's good music, it will blend in.
It will.
But they got opportunities to open for Dave, and I've seen their trajectory of their successful careers, and I know we're just all normal people.
That's right.
I know I was very proud and happy that they did it and got the opportunity, so if I get the opportunity, I just want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And play my heart out, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are the next steps? And like, if someone's watching this and they're like, hey, I love everything you've said, but I've never heard of you guys and I'd love to hear some music. What are some ways people can find you guys and listen?
So the good news is, well, I feel like it's the good news because of the rebrand of everything. I've really stripped, again, with guidance from other people I'm meeting with. I've taken a lot off from online just to rebirth everything in one focus of, I went to Miami University of Ohio. I have a business degree. I should use it.
Yeah, yeah.
Marketing, sales,
This is a
statistics.
business.
I should use
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So there's my balance. I'm creative on the music side, but I have the head that I can understand how to at least approach it.
Yeah.
And so we're putting them all kind of together,
Yeah.
But the Eddie Casino Band right now, just Instagram. There is a Facebook. There is a website, eddiecasino.band.com. We are building, and there will be a huge launch. So it would be cool to kind of, like, I always thought it would be cool to, we've all been there, a lot of us have been there, where you saw this band play,
yes.
and then the next thing you know, they're that band.
That's
you know,
right.
Mumford and Sons or something, like, you're like, who are these guys, you know? And then all of a sudden they're opening for these guys, and then they're playing or their songs on the radio.
Yeah.
But that's cool about our original music. I feel like we have the easy listening, the well-written, hooky songs, and then we have the jams.
Yeah.
So the blend of all of that, like I said, going from Don't Drink the Water to Love or Lay Down to, I guess you would go with like Where Are You Going? So like there's, you know, that's in a movie, and that's, but then Jimmy Thing and Warehouse and Dancing, like, they're not in the movie, you know.
Right,
like,
right.
But that's the art.
Mm-hmm.
We're all artists. I've been influenced. You can hear Tom Petty in my music. You can hear Dave a little bit. You can hear Bruce Hornsby. You can hear
But
the
that's
Pink.
beautiful, right?
Well,
So beautiful.
because I took what I liked from all of these
Your
artists
influences. Yeah.
and made it into my own. Like, oh, I love the way they do that on the solo of Pink Floyd's electric guitar solo on this. So now Barry on fiddle, who he plays fiddle, but unlike anyone else, meaning he plays it like it's an electric guitar.
Oh, yeah.
And it has its own tone. Jean-Luc Ponty back in the day was the first one trying to experiment with like pedal boards, and he really has his own sound. So when you hear Barry, it's like, that sounds like Barry. It sounds like the Eddie Casino Band. That's what you know, we're striving for.
Absolutely.
And I feel like when we get together, it's just magic. When we rehearse, and then when we get to just play live, it's just, we're out there to crush everybody.
So would you say that you're living your dream right now?
I've always been that type of person.
Mm-hmm.
I am living my dream. I'm very grateful and happy. And I just want more.
Yeah.
You know, and because, you know, 5-hour gigs 6 nights a week of playing other people's music,
Mm-hmm.
I know I can always do that.
Yeah.
But boy, in my heart of hearts, I just want to do this and share this original music like some of my heroes have.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the best part of it all. So
Yeah, well, I think that the boys are definitely, you guys are going to stick around and play some music for us, so stay tuned because we are going to attach some music to this. I can't thank you enough for just sharing your heart and sharing kind of your story of how this all came to be, because it's an amazing story. I mean, can you imagine telling your 7-year-old self that started writing songs that one day you would be doing what it is that you're doing? I mean, it really is kind of a dream come true.
that 7-year-old kid in me is telling me right now, you didn't come this far just to come this far.
No.
And that's the driving motive of what I'm trying to accomplish with my friends.
Yeah, I mean, who could ask for more? I mean, you can always get more, but I mean, you're on an amazing adventure, and I am so excited to see where that takes you. And guys, definitely be sure to check them out on their Instagram page. Of course, you mentioned they do have a Facebook page as well, and then of course some videos on YouTube. Is that what you
Some
said as
YouTube,
well?
but we'll be releasing with the release of a song every month. So after a year, you've released a record.
Yeah.
So now times are changing, so you gotta go with the flow and understand what it is. And that will keep it like, well, hopefully people will be excited to hear the next one next month.
Yeah.
And by, you know, continuing to say, well, I love these songs so far, let's see what's next. And if you don't like it, I understand that too. That's totally fine.
Sure.
But it's we're excited to share our music.
Yeah. Well, I think this is just another story, and again, this is what this podcast is just a story of what it is that the Dave Matthews Band has done outside of their music. And every week, you know, we have someone come on to talk about how the band has changed their life, and every story is very different. And I love this story because, again, it is different, but they've influenced how your life has kind of changed its course and gone this way to be exactly where you are. And so I love that. And again, I can't thank you enough for sharing that. So guys, be sure to check out this video on YouTube. It's simply under the Space Between podcast. But stay tuned because we are going to have some live music for you guys. So even if you are listening to this, you will get to listen to all the beautiful things that they're going to show us. Dave, I cannot thank you enough for being
I thank
on
you
the show
for
today.
making the trip out here. That's just
Absolutely.
blows
I mean, who
my
doesn't
mind.
want to come to Las Vegas?
I mean, now we can party.
Yeah, well, I brought 2 kids with me, so I don't know
Yeah.
if partying is in my cards, but
No, it
I
is.
mean, I consider this partying. I mean, I
yeah.
wouldn't want to be
Hang
in
out the
this
studio
place.
all day.
This is an amazing. I mean, I'm a nurse. Whoever thought I would be in a studio in Las Vegas interviewing musicians? So I'm living my dream.
Well, I'm
you know,
glad you
I
are.
think that that's proof that like no matter how old you are, no matter like how lofty your dreams may sound, nothing is unreachable as long as you follow your passions, follow your heart. Anything is possible. So if this nurse can be in Las Vegas interviewing musicians, you can do anything.
Just so you know, we've also been following you.
Yay! Thank you.
I mean, that's how we became friends.
That's right.
I saw someone really enjoying what they were doing, and I just want to say we all appreciate what you are doing because it's meaningful to us and it connects us all, really.
Thank you. I mean, it's a beautiful story. I think, again, I say this a lot of times, but, we turn on the TV, we turn on the radio, and we often hear how many horrible, bad things are happening. And it's hard to get out of bed and want to continue going when you're like, what is good in my life right now? There are amazing things that are still happening in this world. There are beautiful stories of love and passion and drive. And so, I hope that this show can continue to be just a small little ray of sunshine to remind you as you listen or as you watch that there are good people and there is still love in the world and happy things are happening. So guys, thank you so much for watching this. And stay tuned because we are going to have a live performance from the Eddie Casino Band. So stay tuned and thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you.
Single thing you do to me is like I'm